What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Quantum Ascend. Going to take a quick peek here at Rendered. Been a minute since we looked at it, and I know that there are a lot of fans out there on X and YouTube. So looking at this thing, going back to really that 2024 high there in March. The main count that I'm getting right now is that black A, B, C. Now, I played a little bit around with this black C wave. I'll talk about that in a second. But if you look at how this is set up, it's a pretty distinct A, B, C in the A wave. You have an A, B, C in the B wave, and that B wave takes you back up into retracement levels. The highest probability rollover zone, I talk about it all the time, up here between the 618, 786. That's exactly where this got rejected before it rolled over. And this was that was like the Trump pump high back here. So since that, this thing down 90%. So rough, but not too different from what's happening across the board on a lot of different cryptos. So you have the ABC, and then in this last wave here, certainly looked like it would be another A, B, and C, but we ended up setting a new low right here. And where this wave went to is a pretty clean move for a 5-wave impulse down. Your 1, 2, 3, 4 rolls back up into wave 1, comes back down one more time for a wave 5. Now, it did take out this low here, barely, but that technically is a wave 5. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to turn over from here and we're going to continue on and we're going to get ripping. I do, however, believe we are very, very close across the board to seeing some serious upside here in alts. There's a lot of things happening on the macro. I'm not going to get into this video, but there's a ton of stuff happening over there. That leaves room for growth here on risk on assets, and Render definitely one of those. So this is the daily. Real quick, let's pop in. Looks like there could be a little bit more downside as we're falling off on the RSI here, and you do have the MACD getting close to a little kiss. Hopefully we can get a bounce there as this thing kind of dips down and moves back up. We know we want the RSI to be above 60. That's when we're going to get the most growth, especially if we're going from low to high. So still working on it. We have a long-term trend line here going back to December of 2024 that we just have not been able to break through yet. And that fourth wave did hit it, and again, put us in line there with that first wave. So on the daily, could see a little bit more downside. Whether this is taken out or not remains to be seen. A lot of it's going to matter, what's happening on the broader macro, especially with everything happening geopolitically right now over there in Iran. So in a wait and see moment here, if it does get a little bit lower, opportunity to dollar cost average in. But to be completely honest, not financial advice, where this thing is at on its chart down so much, any buys that you have in this area are going to end up being huge in the future if you have the wherewithal to understand that it could take a little bit of time to happen. And that's why you make sure you're never over allocating. You always have cash on the sideline so that you can dollar cost average in, right? And then you don't get stressed out. But where this came down to from a bounce perspective, right in here, oftentimes you'll see this structurally end up getting back tested. This little Wyckoff scenario that we had going on here, this came back down to test that high right there. And now, again, I do believe that sooner or later here, these things are going to get turned around. So that's the daily. On the weekly kind of hanging out in no man's land here. Would love, right now it's technically a neutral bullish, would love for that to turn back up kind of how it did here, or back here, stay bullish and give us some positive price appreciation there. So that is the weekly. And then again, the MACD relatively flat, not really picking a direction here. Kind of like how we didn't really pick a direction on the RSI going back to early February. The monthly, however, we have been hammered. This monthly since June of 2024 has not been out of bearish territory. It is March of 2026. You're coming up on 2 years of this just being completely oversold on the monthly. You do have the MACD momentum, negative momentum decreasing a little bit, but we are going to have this type of low to high move coming into the markets here sooner than later. Whether it ends up being brand new all-time highs, which I think there's a huge argument to be made that we will, or whether it's some kind of retrace rally like we saw here. In this situation, the first low to high move got there. We came back and retested, stayed bullish the whole time, got close to the 40 and bounced, and there was price. So the whole time on that move from low to high there, you're looking at render win a 33x during this moment. And I'm not even saying I don't believe it would take that long, but I'm also not looking for a 36x on this. There's a couple, I have some different targets out over there on X, YouTube. Check it out. I'm not going to get into those today. Just wanted to break down short term what's kind of happening here and where I see the market or where I see render going here in the coming months. So I am still bullish. I think that we've seen a lot of the downside already. It's behind us. These things do not go down forever. You will get some sort of bounce that comes out of here. And even if you go back here, I mean, that was a 3.5x on a bounce for a B wave. Would we be happy with that? I mean, no, it wouldn't be ideal. But you go 350% from where you're at right now, you're up there around $6. And I think that's a little bit more, 243, around like 450. And that's a little bit more palatable than where we're at right now. So I still think it's going to rip to new highs. I'm just making sure that I'm laying out the full picture here for you. So that is going to be it here for render. Guys, if you like this kind of analysis, want to learn more, head over to the link in my bio. You get 1 week free as a member of my Quantum Circle group. Ton of information over there. A lot of helpful tools too. So make sure to go check that out. If not, thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you guys later.